Now we're going to go into our first panel session of the day. So this one throws the spotlight on hotel distribution and asks the question, where is the otherness? Now this one is sponsored by Dorina Holidays, so thank you to them. And before I introduce everybody, I'm going to bring them up on stage first, our moderator Elodie and our speakers Anna, Tariq and Mark. Could you welcome them up before I give them a big introduction? Thank you. What an introduction. I'm so glad we've all got theme tunes this morning. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you know a lot of these guys, but it's my job just to give you a bit of background. So our moderator for today, and in fact, the lady that told me all about how wonderful ConX is, and she's right, is Elodie Leunen, who's the CEO of Fastpayhotels and the founder of Stellantis.
Thank you.
Now, for those of you that don't know, Stellantis was launched 2 years ago as part of a new hotel distribution evolution, and she's worked across hospitality, distribution, and travel tech with the brands like Accor, Radisson, Amadeus, and Expedia. She's also a board member of HSMAI Europe, which is where we met, and we recently did a panel on the role of AI in distribution, didn't we? So Elodie led that very capably. Today, she's going to tackle a challenging subject, but she's talking to some of the best in the business, so I am confident she'll do an amazing job as usual. So joining Elodie, for ladies first, of course, is Anna Domenech, who's the Managing Director of Orchestra, which, of course, is part of the Travelsoft Group. Now, Anna, of course, brings a strong distribution perspective. She's had leadership roles with major European travel e-commerce businesses, including Last Minute and Voyage Privé. So, of course, today she runs Orchestra, the leading B2B travel tech and connectivity platform in France. So, big round of applause to Anna. I'll work my way along. We have Mark Nushen, who's a founding member of WTM, which is World to Meet, and a leader of the Bed Bank and International Expansion teams. Now, WTM is a vertically integrated business, so tour operators, agencies, OTAs, airline, DMCs, hotels, and bed bank activity. It's a lot. So he gets a view of how hotel distribution works when you're not just an intermediary, but also operating your own channels and products. So thank you to Mark. Another round of applause. And flying in all the way from Saudi, well, I know you went via Dubai, but where I used to live, so a place I'm familiar with, is Tariq Khatri, the Chief Commercial Officer at Al Musafa. Now, Tariq has helped build and scale several travel ventures across the Middle East and India. He founded Tajawal, an OTA that is now part of Al Musafa. So he's very well known for his expertise in commercial strategy, partnerships, customer experience, digital transformation, and distribution. So together, we've got an absolutely brilliant mix of hotel, OTA, bed bank, connectivity, and marketplace perspective. So I'm going to hand over to Elodie, who's now in my hot seat, and I will join you again later. Another round of applause, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Gemma. Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I think I've done all the ConX. I've done 6 of those. I was there 2019, and it's an honor to be here today on stage. We're here, as said Gemma, to talk about hotel distribution and otherness. So, question we're trying to answer today is AI going to crush us all in 5, 3, 1 year? Everyone's talking about AI. What's going on? Everything's changing. I have 3 experts here. They want to share with you why their business is different, why the otherness is so important and will be important in the future. And I guess my first question is AI going to make hotel distribution average, or is it already average? What do you think, Anna?
Nice question. So thanks, Elodie, and hi, everyone. I need to thank Luisa for inviting me to this lovely panel. And just to answer your question, personally, I'm not sure that AI is making everyone average. I believe that AI is somehow changing the competitive advantage a lot. I think that traditionally, companies have been competing in inventory, in connectivity, in distribution reach, and I think that AI is shifting somehow the game with 3 new areas. I would say that the first one is operational efficiency. I think that companies that use AI to improve connectivity, to automate process, and to speed time to market will have an advantage. So that would be the first one. I think the second one is everything related to marketing and visibility. And I think here is where content generation is very important. Luisa was talking about AO, which is the last company that Travelgate just bought. And this is really important in content. I think that consumers are using more and more AI on a daily basis, and we need to make the question to ourselves, like, how can we be visible in this new environment? We've been optimizing SEO for many years, and I think that now the question is, how can we be visible in geo? So that would be the second one. And I think the third point, and is potentially the most disrupted, is that AI might or will become a distribution channel itself. So I think that we see how consumers are using AI and agents to search, to compare, and also to potentially book travel services and travel products. So I think the question is, how do we change and how do we adapt as a travel companies to be not only visible, but also bookable to this new environment? And I think that our technology has been built in a web-based environment. And the question is this, how do we need to adapt, or this is okay to succeed in an agentic world?
Yeah, I think it's a very fair point. Mark, what do you think? Hotel distribution is average already?
Well, I'm not an AI expert. I'm just one of those that are praying, please don't affect me. I think after 20 years of internet, hoteliers, who are finally the owner of the product, had gained a kind of 90% control of content and pricing.
Okay.
Search will change. Search will change dramatically.
Yes.
Even though all our systems still just go availability rate, but the search will change. So hoteliers will have to change, first of all, how they do distribution. Normally they have a revenue area, they have a distribution area, they have a marketing area. Now they will have a optimization area that is taking care of all of those things. Parity will be much difficult to control. Content will be much more difficult to control because content will be part of the AI, essentially, because it will be a better match of what the client is looking for and what the hotel is having to offer. Sadly, the big hotel chains, we have a big consolidation going around the world, those will have the resources to invest in controlling this. Again, the smaller hotel chains or the independent hotels will be stepping behind a bit.
I guess, yes. When we see how easy it's going to be to connect to everyone, it will tend to believe that hotel distribution is going to be average because everyone is getting the same price and the same contents. But what we see is that we're still in the travel business, right? We see that we still have to sign the contract with the hotels, and we still have to know what we're talking about, and we still have to adapt to the revenue management. and all those add-ons. So is hotel distribution going to be more average because everyone is going to get the same, or do you think, Tarek, there's a differentiation here?
Morning, everybody. So I think when we look at from our perspective, we're a Saudi player working in the regional space that we have, and like you rightly said, right, today anybody with a basic architecture and setup can connect to multiple content pieces, multiple supply pieces. I think what really matters is about the markets that we serve, and I think the operational efficiencies, the fulfillment capabilities, the customer servicing capabilities, and the payment mechanisms that are involved in those local markets will play a very important role. So I think when we look at it from a very, very holistic point of view, yes, you have everybody can connect to everybody, everybody's buying from everybody, looks very standardized, but finally, when the rubber hits the road is when you see the operational challenges, and I think that is where, if you look at it, AI is kind of working a lot towards standardizing connectivity, standardizing visual display, et cetera, but the other parts of the post-booking issues and the serviceability issues still require a lot of manual intervention, and that's where the differentiation will actually come in. And we see that in our world, specifically, if I look at Saudi as a market, we've seen when it comes to religious travel, you have a lot of peaks and you have a lot of demand that suddenly goes completely crazy. And you have smaller players who possibly do hedging in terms of buying inventory in advance and keep it with them. And you typically have a hotel confirmation number comes, let's say, just at the last minute or the day of arrival of that particular customer. So all these things cannot be really solved using so much technology, but also building a very strong infrastructure to make sure that the operational capabilities are very, very smooth.
Exactly. So focusing on the Otherness is also focusing outside of connectivity and all this technology.
Absolutely.
Couldn't agree more. And I'm coming back to you. So you have a lot of experience in OTAs. You worked for Last Minute. We've seen early 2000s a lot of consolidation in the OTAs. We're seeing now a quite intense consolidation in travel tech. Is this part of being average, or is that part that because you are the Otherness, your destiny is to be part of this consolidation? What do you think? What experience you had with this consolidation?
So yes, I've been working in lastminute.com for many years, and we've been through different acquisitions. So I really, let's say, lived very closely the consolidation of OTAs in Europe. I would say that consolidation came and is still coming because we all know that the travel sector is very fragmented. So I would say it's more like a natural consequence of that. That, for instance, lastminute.com was trying to expand in new markets across Europe. And I think in these cases, consolidation makes sense. When you want to be stronger in a new business line that potentially you don't have, I think is where consolidation makes sense. You were also talking about travel tech consolidation. We see it with TravelSoft, how TravelSoft is consolidating also different tech solutions under the same umbrella. And I think this is helping a lot doing synergies between the group. But I think one point is potentially different today in this consolidation world is that we usually say that AI is accessible to everyone. And I think that this is true at some extent, because at the end, AI requires a lot of investment as well. So I think one point is who will have the capability to invest on AI, and this might, let's say, the larger corporations and consolidated group, I think they will have, let's say, more capacity to invest. You need talent, you need resources, you need expertise, you need time. I think we're still in a phase where we are somehow test and learn.
Yes.
And when you test and learn, you need to admit that you fail.
Yes.
So I think that on this context, potentially, let's say, larger groups will have an advantage to improve and to keep using AI. And I think on the other side, we also seen like AI-based solutions that are coming from tech companies, for third-party companies, that will help the smaller, medium, or also larger players, because I talked about fragmentation at the beginning, and I think this is something really important. We believe that everyone is using like AI, and everyone is having like the best tools in the market, and I think our sector is very fragmented. And I think not everyone, let's say, is at the same speed and at the same stage. So coming back, let's say, to potentially AI-based tools, I think we have a very good example that Travel Compositor, which is part of Travelsoft, has built an AI solution which is called Dante. And I really like it a lot. It helps like creating a hotel into the system, so it automates all the hotel rates. And I think this is a very, let's say, concrete example to a tool that can be available in the market, even for players that won't have the capabilities to invest in AI.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a very fair point. I mean, we've seen a lot of announcements regarding AI investments and things, but I think that's the fundamentals of being an intermediary, is that you can bring this added value that smaller and mediums one cannot have, maybe because you have more investment capacities, but probably because the knowledge and the aggregation of what you represent helps a lot, right? Mark, what do you think? Do you think the big ones, you have to be big to invest in AI? Or do you think, I would say that AI favors also the small ones because it's so accessible right now?
Well, it is accessible, but obviously in the future it will become more massive and more expensive. Just remember internet, when it started, it gave us direct access to end consumer, direct access to communicate with end consumer as a hotelier. Later it became expensive, and now it's expensive. Again, I think I agree with what Anna said. Each company, or the fragmented B2B space, we should think about what is our added value here, and can we improve this with AI? In this space, I think it's really important. We're talking about hotels, about emotions. It should be travel added value, not only credit or technology. It's a travel added value. So, for example, in our case, we tend to, we have exclusive point of sales. Hoteliers like that because it's a way to get there. Or I have exclusive hotels. So the clients know that if they want to get to this, this is travel added value. Then we need to invest in AI to make this more efficient. Our travel agents, for example, are using AI to be a better travel agent, to give better advice. You know? There are a lot of pragmatic solutions, and they're accessible right now. On the long run, I'm praying.
Well, that's very good. Tarek, you very specialized in the Middle East. A bit tough region right now, but an amazing source of creativeness. Otherness is also being specialized in the region?
I would say, being a regional player and having the expertise on a region is not just about understanding the nature of that particular region. It's also about understanding the nuances of that particular part, whether it is the different kind of payment mechanisms that are involved, the fragmented supply that exists. You have a lot of non-chain properties that are now becoming very relevant in that space. You have a lot of non-hotel accommodation that is becoming pretty large. Understanding how these works. You also have a lot of very, very small, unique channel managers that have come up specifically in the region, which getting access to inventory in that part of the world means you need to work with those kind of channel managers. So when you look at that expertise in terms of being a regional player, it also involves understanding all the elements that go around making sure that you have the right content available with the right servicing capability, including making payments to those particular suppliers. For example, there are some hotels in Saudi who will insist only on cash. So we generally have a guy sitting in the office carrying bundles, going to the hotel, making the payments for them out there. So it varies. So when I look at all these things, from a customer's point of view, they will really not care about what the AI strategy or the connectivity platform that we build. They just want to make sure that is the booking going to work? Will I have no issues when I reach my check-in counter and my booking will be secured and it will be delivered to me? I think that is what matters. So when you look at from a regional point of view, understanding these elements and making sure that you have all the aspects covered to make sure that the customers get what they paid for is key.
Okay, yeah. I think that's a very clear point. Do you think there's more opportunity to extend outside of the region? How when you're so specialized and something happens like what just happened, you move quick? Is AI or is connectivity helping you doing that?
Well, at least what we've seen is that in a scenario like what happened recently in our region, domestic started playing a very important role for us. So because there were limited number of flights where people could travel out, we saw a growth in domestic demand, which again comes back to the same thing that you have a lot of non-hotel players that started playing a very big role. So you've got a lot of service apartments, you had a lot of economy class hotels that kind of became high in demand. And we were able to kind of use our expertise to make sure that we had enough content available on that. And that's where again it comes to the fact that everything cannot be bought in by yourself. You also then start working with regional specialized players in order for them to be able to connect into your system and get that content. And I think from an AI application point of view, it was again about how do we bring in efficiency on the servicing and the back office level, like what Anna mentioned. It's about how do you bring in more operational efficiencies, whether it is ensuring limited number of calls to be made to get the hotel confirmation number, or working with the technology teams to start deploying code faster, getting things done faster and quicker is what we've tried to do using that.
That's good. I think what I've experienced in the region is people tend to be very technological in the Middle East. You have access to a lot of technology. I don't experience that personally in Europe sometimes. I feel there's a kind of a technological gap, right? And I think in tourism, we've always been talking about this technological depth that we all have, because we know tourism is not the tech specialist. It needs to be always, right? So this tech depth and AI, you put that on top of it, just going to accelerate what tech is. If you don't have tech, where do you accelerate? Is this going to create a bigger gap between those that have done the work on tech and those that didn't?
So if I have to just kind of continue with what you're saying, when you look at Middle East as a market, it was always a mobile-first market, then a web market. So the adoption of the mobile was much, much earlier and faster. So you had everything that was built had to be mobile savvy, whether it was building apps for the customers, or it was even back office products where you had agents wanted to kind of do something on a booking. You had to make sure that you had things that were mobile friendly in that sense. So yeah, what we are seeing out here is in our region is that technology is playing a much stronger role in terms of being able to scale faster. And the fact that a lot of regional companies in the Middle East want to expand into other regions. And I think the only differentiation that they can actually look at is having that technology edge and making those investments in those places in order to kind of grow faster.
Okay, I think that's amazing. I think also, would you recommend, Anna, I'm going back to you, would you recommend a company today to start building its own tech? Or just get out there and find the right partner that has the tech needed? Because the debate is always like this. No, I don't need this intermediary. No, we've been talking about it for the past 20 years. Oh no, I don't need GDS. I'm doing NDC. I don't need this intermediary. I don't need this tech. I can build it on my own. Now, it's true that through AI, technology is going to be more valuable, but
so
is that
yeah, I'm not sure if I'm the best person to answer this question because I'm working in a travel tech company. So I cannot say
Well, then
to
we know
people that
the answer.
they need to build their own. I need to say that they need to work with us. But apart from that, I think that coming back to legacy and tech, I think that AI is also helping, let's say, to improve this legacy that we have. So this is one point. I also think that what used to be like a competitive advantage in the past, we talk about connectivity, we talk about standardize. So I think that we've been working a lot on this sense. And today I think this is somehow a baseline. So when we say, is this average? Well, potentially it is, because I think it's something that you need to start competing, right? But I think that just connectivity and just standardized connectivity is not enough to win the battle, but I think it's the baseline, and then you need to find something unique, something different to really win. And I think this differentiation, it might come from your brand strategy, from the knowledge of the market, from how you position your brand, where do you bring value. So I think there's many other things apart from just focusing on AI. And Mark said something that I think is very interesting, like AI brings operational efficiency, but operational efficiency doesn't mean emotion. And at the end, we are working in an industry that is selling like travel, and travel is like a dream, and travel is like emotion, and I think you need like to keep that in mind.
It's
and I think the combination, let's say, of tech, commercial, and AI will potentially be the best one. I've been working in companies that were really, really focused on tech and put a less on commercial, and they were very successful. And then I work in another OTAs that were really, really like commercial driven, with potentially a depth in tech, and they're really successful as well. So I think that, if an OTA is able to do everything right, like having an amazing commercial team that has the good technology and that empowers everything within AI, that would be great.
Yeah. Mark, what do you think? Do you think tech is essential, but tourism is also a big part of it?
I think we are in a very low margin industry, settling. The other thing is it's a very inefficient industry. So distribution of hotels is very inefficient from the hotel until the point of sale. But there are so many small things that we can improve with AI. I think contract loading, hotel confirmation number, revenue, that means changing your margins. There are so many aspects that are small where you can improve and differentiate or be a bit more efficient than your neighbor. But at the end, we're still talking about that we're selling travel, and emotions and people are very important. And repeating my first one, I think search will change, and we need to adapt to this new model of search. And the questions will be a bit different. SEO will be changing, PPC will be changing, even meta will be changing. Also, the way how people search will change. It's not anymore about, I want this hotel to that rate. It's about, I have 300 euro, but my wife doesn't like seafood. It will be different. So again, a lot of efficiency with technology, but it will be still travel.
And there's still some challenges, right? Because from what you're saying, it's clear that the focus is going to be a lot more on content. I don't feel like we are the experts in content when we're distributing. It's because it has to be also automated and also API driven. Getting content oriented is quite a challenge right now.
I think hoteliers have been very focused on rate parity, but they never focused on content parity. So there is a lot of content around the world, people talking about your product, and this is something you can easily control with AI, and you have to control. It's much more important than the rate.
Yeah, I think when we're talking to the hotels, I know some OTAs already have added in the addendums they're having to hotels the guarantee of giving me the best content you have out there. Just like in the 2000s when they merged, they were saying you need to give me the best public price. So we can clearly see the switch on content. We're not ready. What do you think, Tarek? What do you think more?
No, but we have to work very close with the owner of the product. When I sell to Tarek, I need to give him the right content and have to respect the content. I have to encourage him to change the content, change the pictures, and again, hoteliers will control with AI, but they won't be able to change everything.
Yeah, but also at the same time, when you look at content, it cannot be a standardized thing that everybody looks the same, right? There are ways of kind of presenting the same hotel or the same property in a way that is unique to your presentations of what you want to show to your customers. Like, otherwise, if you look at today, everything looks almost the same. There's a box, there's some description, and there's a button. Which is practically what everybody is kind of showing. I think there is a way to differentiate the content, and it will again kind of be a combination of what are the kind of investments that one does. Like, we did an experiment for a lot of these alternate accommodation in Saudi, where we sent our own photographers and videographers to kind of shoot and build a 360 video for those properties. And we did see a kind of a good uplift in terms of people clicking on it, people engaging on it, and people trying to kind of see more on it. We did see an uptake in terms of bookings, but again, it was a very small experiment to maybe around 1,000 properties that we did. But what you're saying is right. Content has to be differentiated. And one very important thing that we've all been struggling with, and we're kind of working in some form or the other, are the mapping issues, right? When you have things getting overlaid on each other, and then the content suddenly becomes irrelevant because something broke on the mapping.
No. Yeah, mapping is still a big thing. Yes, I think there's a lot, and there's a lot of shifts that's happening in hotel distribution right now. But I think it's clear, just to resume a bit, that everyone has its own otherness, and we have it very clear and get the vision about it, and we're going to embrace probably the changes. We're probably going to be there to maybe not create everything from scratch and use AI for everything. I think the conclusion here is we all agree AI is a great tool to accelerate many things, maybe to cope with some pain points we have in hotel distribution, like content mapping. But we just need to embrace it and accelerate our otherness and what makes us so special. And at the end of the day, it's all about contacts, relationship, processes. Technology, yes, is one thing, but if you want to be relevant and be part of maybe this consolidation, you probably have to embrace it more than go against it. So thank you for your time today. It was great to have you on stage. I hope we got a bit of answers for everyone, and thank you for sharing this with me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.